Good evening, everybody. So the chat was lively before we went live. Hours ago, people were leaving comments ready to see Misha. And here he is with his WWE entrance.
That's putting water in.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, ton of people are hopping in. So what's happening tonight? This was totally spur of the moment. MISHACO is here with a bunch of other shill guilders. Misha reached out via email and said, man, ready to go live again. Want to talk guns, and wanted to give him the floor to really interact with the chat. For obvious reasons, it's difficult for Misha to go live on his own channel to keep up with the comments because the comments are happening so sporadically. So we thought this would be cool. We can manage the comments, read them aloud, and he can react to them. This is big for me. I've been watching Misha for years, well over a decade. I think everyone on this chat was all so freaking excited to be a part of this live stream with Misha. Because he's been doing it longer than I think anyone on. Misha's been doing it longer, and he's been into guns probably longer than all of us combined. So very happy to have him here so that the chat can ask him anything they want to ask him. So tonight, chat, never asked you guys to do this, but it will help us manage the questions better. Any super chat, it can be $1, doesn't matter how much it is. Any super chat that's donated tonight will go to Misha after the stream to support his channel and will help us highlight those comments so that he can answer them. So that's how we're going to do things tonight. And you already got your first one from Kermit the Frog. Tip $10, Misha. So yeah. We'll go around, let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll stop on Misha so he can introduce himself and we can get cracking. Greg, who are you again?
Hi, I'm Greg. Also known as Greg's Gruns. I have a channel that's dedicated to, I guess the description is like thoroughly ADD gun content, but it's mostly like clone builds, military guns, competition shooting with military guns, a little bit of long range shooting, that kind of thing.
With a hint of ASMR, I've always found.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Steve, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Misha. Yeah, so I've been doing this for a little while. I do it for fun. You know, I do a lot of roller lock stuff, but I also do a lot of everything. I mean, you'll see single action stuff on my channel and IG all the way up to, you know, the new fancy whatever's hot. So it's a wide range. I like it all. I like all kind of firearms and guns. So you'll see a lot of stuff. I just post kind of whatever I like and whatever I got going on. So that's what I do.
Hell yeah. Rodrigo?
Hey, Misha, Rodrigo here. Man, my channel is also a accumulation of like everything that I like to shoot, you know. So I've got a modern stuff, AKs. I've got like an OG SIG 553, which I bought from you. And so it's a small channel, you know, just gun stuff.
Someone just left a comment. I still laugh when most of you were on that guys trip and Rodrigo was showing the beds and saying, here's where all the masturbating's happening.
Points for honesty.
Mark, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Mark from Fit and Fire. You guys know me. Misha, I'm a longtime purveyor of your channel. I typically will swing by your channel to do some research before I get a video put out of mine to make sure I get my facts straight. So it's pretty awesome to have you on the live chat and hope to learn some more from you.
Hell yeah. Love that voice, man. All right, Kyle, go ahead.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, my name's Kyle with Gear Know-How. Pretty excited for this chat here. I'm kind of a novice when it comes to AKs, but I'm learning fast from these guys. So trying to pick up what I can and do a lot of testing on the range and just kind of going over a lot of gear, accessories, scopes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, should be a good chat.
Heck yeah. Okay, MISHACO, you've met everyone. So let's imagine no one in the chat knows who you are. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
I'm the one that just felt the cat hit my butt because she went under the chair, and that's why I was laughing a second ago. No one to Schwinner there. Hi, I'm Misha. I'm old. I've been around since 2011 for whatever that's worth, and yeah, I completely agree. It's for fun. It's just whatever I'm interested in. You could probably map my interest levels over the years. Definitely ADD type comment because I love Manishi and I love pedantry, if that makes sense. But I also can say with all sincerity, when I look at other channels, I like it when things stay small. When someone gets big and goes from doing it in their garage to, producing in the studio, I don't know. So I'm just kind of keeping it real, and I don't know. Just I love guns. I always have. I grew up with them, and I think people can get too wrapped up in all the tactical stuff or the home defense stuff or even the politics stuff, which is important, but sometimes just get out and enjoy things.
Heck yeah. You got another $10 tip here from H-Town. I don't even know if I want to read that out loud.
Okay.
And Alex Davernoff here also tips $10. Makes really cool leather chest rigs up in Brooklyn. Cannot wait to meet those guys. But yeah, I think they're big fans of yours. So very cool, man. You're just making money hand over fist. You haven't answered a single question yet.
I still want to know that one you can't read out loud.
All right, I'll read it. $10 from H-Town Werewolf wants to know, when was your last poison extraction?
About 10 this morning.
Oh, damn.
There you go. That's my man right there.
I just heard Rachel in the next room go, oh. Oh, man. Well, hey, I thought a cool thing for you to start on tonight before we get another super chat here. We talked a little bit about this on our phone call, our lengthy phone call, and you had said that in today's AK world, there wasn't a whole lot to be excited about. Do you think you could touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, and I think we talked about that before SHOT Show, and I can't say that has changed much, and it's pretty self-evident now. For someone getting new into it, there's still everything that it has been is out there, but I think what have we seen new? I mean, the old timer, like the Century guns, the Romanian, the Wassers. There's nothing new under the sun there. Arsenal continues to disappoint, and that's sad because for a while they're bringing out new guns every couple of years, and now they'll call me up. Hey, we got some new product release. We're really excited about it. Oh yeah, we went from doing plum furniture, now we're doing plum brown. Ain't you excited? No, not so much. Zastava is doing things, but there wasn't a whole lot new AK at the SHOT Show from them. You know what I'm really hoping for is an M21, and that wasn't there, so I tuned out pretty quick. But that said, they've done more. And then even the U.S. builders, love them or hate them, like PA's kind of gotten quiet. And I know Riley is still making stuff, but they've really slowed down. And of course, I hated when KUSA went out, even if I didn't like a lot of their business decisions and their on that line of corporate and who they picked to sponsor them. Like the actual engineers there and the guys making the guns on the factory were pretty cool people, and I was rooting for them. And who knows what Pioneer is going to do if one day to the next they change. But I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of the best case. It's same old, same old. Worst case, they're decreasing their product lines. And of course, prices going up exponentially. It's just, how can you collect AKs when they cost twice as much as an AR?
It's interesting you mentioned Riley. I was just telling someone the other day, like sometimes it's going to sound bad, but sometimes I even forget Riley exists. You just don't really, you don't really see much.
In a bad way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, but then I think, what would there be? I mean, I'd love to see someone do like a AK-107, AK-108 clone. That'd be awesome. The M21 I mentioned, there's still quite a few guns in Bulgaria we've never had semi-autos of, but I don't really care about the latest and newest rail system. We've got plenty of furniture sets and stock sets that work fine. I'm not going to get excited about the next 60 round mag because, good God, paying for 60 rounds of 7.62 by 39 is punishing enough.
Well, how about parts kits? We have a super chat from Wills 5255. He wants to
Okay.
know maybe just what's available right now. Best
I
part
haven't-
kit AK to try to build and find right now. If
mean,
you even
one-
pay attention to what's available.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is that the barrel band, not exactly 100% lifted, but mostly there. That's awesome. But as far as which one to build, I wouldn't recommend if it's his first build to start off with one of the high-end kits because you will make mistakes. They won't probably be much more than cosmetic, but start off on a kit that you don't mind scuffing a bit, learn from there, and then do your pretty build a little bit down the road. I still prefer imports over kits, but there are plenty of times when you can't get an imported version. For example, the Asian contract, quote unquote, guns, East German guns. Those would be the kit builds I would go for because if you can get an imported version, I still prefer that for more than a few reasons.
What would you say? It just made me think of a question. Like you said, there's some AKs you physically cannot own unless you source the kit and have it built.
Mhm.
You have an extensive collection, and I think you even have like a 7-hour long video going over your entire collection, which was legendary when you did that. I don't even
It
want
was a joke because people keep asking me. I said, okay, fine, here you go.
how long did it take to upload that 7-hour long video, by the way?
I don't recall. A minute.
Well,
It's probably one of those things I set to upload and went to bed. I have a habit of doing that.
Gotcha. So in that video, you showed you have a large collection of AKs. What would you say in your collection that is a kit build, maybe an AK that was never imported, an AK that you can't own without building a kit? What's the coolest thing that you own that you had built from a kit that otherwise would not be available as an import?
Thank you. I mentioned the Asian contract. That is probably it. Oh wow, it just came up a lot of rain. I was like, what's that noise? Yeah, that was outside. That's the wind here. Great. Anyway, sorry. But if we just want to say something else, I know. The published KBKG, the WZ 1960, the grenade launching milled. I've always loved that design, and there's not an import version of it. So, and by extension, you could say pretty much any kind of like AK Type 3, because the only imports we've ever had were way later made examples from Arsenal or China. But pretty much, if you want the early style guns, you've got to build them from kits.
I have seen your video on that. That's pretty cool. My Type 3 is also an OG Polish, but it's not the grenade launching version. That's super sick. I'm actually having it gold plated. Probably shouldn't have said that because the video's not out yet. Hey, all right. Okay. I know a lot of people want to hear your opinion on this, and I'm glad that someone just asked the question. Joe Brontosaurus tips $5, and he wants to know, Misha, is Meridian Defense the future of U.S. manufacturing?
Not at their current price point. And also, and you know more about them than I do because you work with them closer. What's their production capacity like? Even if they got big, do they have facilities to turn out volume AKs?
Man, honestly, I don't know the exact number. I know it's not high volume at all.
Yeah,
If I
I
had to
think that's
guess,
the limiting factor.
if I had to
Because
guess, 100 a month, really
Yeah,
hustling 100 a month.
That's what I mean. Like I remember, this is going back a long time ago, but Waffen Works, when they first started doing their AK-74s, they were really good guns. But as soon as they tried to scale up their volume, the bottom fell out. At least the reputation did because they had a few blims. That's the problem I see with a lot of these companies is when they're doing low rate production, but when they try to scale it up, then they just can't deal with it. They're not set up for that. So I don't think they're the future because A, price, and B, production numbers.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's wishful thinking.
Oh yeah,
Maybe not the future.
I wish Palmetto State had that level of care and attention to detail because they do have the ability to turn out a bunch of stuff. I just don't particularly like their attention to QC and detail.
Interesting. Well, I hope that answered your question, Joe. Here's a question I don't know if we should answer on a live stream. Josh Wood tips $10. He wants to know, Misha, because sometimes cool kids coming through crime. He wants to know, how do I get a new AK-12? Under the table, private sale, maybe at a fun show?
Well, I mean, there's obviously no official imports. The problem I see with AK-12s is people spend so much money on them, and half of them are built from either out of spec parts or even airsoft ports. That's why you don't see me with one. I've never found one priced right that I know was built with all correct components. How bad would it be to spend 3, 4, 5K on something and then realize that there's substandard parts in there?
Yeah, or just have it built poorly. There was actually an AK-12
that
that
too,
went
yeah.
viral on Instagram not too long ago. A guy spent 7 G's having one put together, and
Man, are they up there?
it went bad. And then, it's the internet. Someone has a bad AK build, it goes viral on the internet, and that's a lot of money to spend on a gun that could be built poorly. Like you're saying, it could have been built from a firing gun or something.
Yeah, you just don't know, and it might not even be your builder here. He might be the best guy in the world, but who knows where the part came from? And even coming out of Russia, they can lie to you and go, "Oh yeah, these are mil spec parts right off the floor." Are they? I don't know. And if it were just a couple of grand, take the risk. Why not? But my wife would murder me if I did. I'd murder myself if she wouldn't. That's too much money to take a risk on.
Yeah, I know the guys that have had the AK-12s, the 5.45s put together. I've seen them try to rehome them, and they're having a very tough time getting their investment back.
Where are you going to get that? It's just not, and it's not the same as an imported Saiga or Molot. They're just different.
So Tusk the Third tips $5, and he says, "I feel nostalgic thinking about Misha's old noisy refrigerator. Man, time flies." So I got to ask, people that have been longtime viewers of your channel, we've seen like the different phases. We've seen, MISHACO, some of your oldest videos, it's in a field with the old SIG 551A1, and then eventually it migrates into the kitchen with kitty cats running around the countertops. And now we see you like at the cabin. So can you tell us about the era filming in your kitchen, which is my most nostalgic era of watching your channel?
Well, the field one, that's with Jay when we just went out there to his father-in-law's land, and that's we had his parents' old camcorder, which probably had like 30 minutes of battery life. And back then, uploading anything over 15 minutes to YouTube was kind of a thing anyway. So that was then. The refrigerator era was when she's bringing everything out. And of course, I had my stuff there, and I had someone behind the camera because this is what I had to do then. I'm not trying to think. It was just to record it when my wife was at work and just drag stuff out, and it was often just off the cuff. I have never written a script in my life. I might make notes or have bullet points mentally, especially about, I like to mention this in the video, but that's about as much planning. It's usually just me feeling like, hey, I want to talk about this today, and just rolling with it, because again, it's about fun. I love guns and I like sharing, and if even 2 people watch, then it's worth it to me.
I think more than 2 people watch. In fact, similar to what happened to some other YouTubers not too long ago, man, I have been preaching. I know a lot of dudes on this stream have been preaching to try to get your channel over 100K. The fact that it's not is a shame, because I know how many channels use you as reference material before they go and make a video, and they want to sound smart. They want to sound educated about what they're filming. They reference your channel. Even if they don't say it, a lot of people use your channel to make sure they get it right before they film. So I really do hope we can get you over 100 one day.
And that's kind of what I want. I mean, I think part of it is YouTube. Not to be conspiratorial, but it doesn't get put up as recommended. Even when I try to put in my own videos, if I let it auto play through one, it immediately puts on someone else's channel. And of course, we've got such big channels out now that are backed up with big companies, and yeah, it's hard. And there's so many people out now compared to when we got started. There are so many just channels on YouTube. You get lost in the noise. And I never have minded criticism. If someone says, "Hey, this and that," I take it to heart. I try, but I don't feel like it's anything I've done or lack thereof. But I think it's just hard to really stand out in all the crowd right now.
Man, that's totally true. We're all such tiny little fish in this massive pond of gun content. 10 years ago was completely different.
Yeah. I mean, when I got started, there were not that many gun channels, full time. It was probably under 100 in all honesty, and certainly not in the thousands. But every day I see someone new. Now I don't mind at all when I see someone who just pops off and gets big. That doesn't bug me. The only time it gets me going is when it's one of those freaking AI channels.
Mm-hmm.
That gets me.
Yeah, I think everyone on the stream has had their content ripped by the AI channels.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I wanted to ask you, I know you have been a huge fan of Misha. I wanted to deviate to see if you had a question for Misha specifically.
Not really a question, but so I've really been into the Swiss rifles, specifically the 550 rifles. I've got 4 of them now, and I've got the K31s and the K11s, and got a couple of Swiss pistols now too. I've always been into Swiss firearms, and you've always been, honestly, probably the best resource on the Swiss guns, and also the American Swiss guns, right? The 551 A1s and those guns. How did you get into those guns?
Well, it's a couple of different ways. It actually goes back to the PS90, the FN. I first saw a P90 at a local place, and it was full auto. And I said, "Hey, this is great. They're gonna make it so. Oh yeah, it's coming out next year. Great, I got it." And I liked it so much, I wanted an FS 2000. And a local person I knew in my little gun community had a FS 2000 for sale. He was selling it because he bought the at the time just released SIG 556. And that's really when I keyed into what it was outside of just background noise in my head. So I saw his and thought, this is pretty cool. This is, one of the very first ones here. And then I met Mike at Colorado Gun Sales a year or two later, and he really educated me. He would call me on his way home from work and just teach me about all the differences and this and that. He's the one that told me that inside the buttstock there was a metal frame, and he taught me the basic minutiae. And then from there, the 551 A1s came out, and I got it on the ground floor of that. And then I ended up getting the 553 pistols when those came out through first M&M and then SIG. And then Dave came in with JDI, and I remember the first time I heard about him there, because for years every shot show, so and so is going to bring over new 55X guns. Yeah, right. When I heard about him, I'm like, oh, here we go, another one. But he had a phone number, and he was actually taking pre-orders, so I called him up one morning early, thinking, do I want to trust this guy with some money as a down payment? Well, after we talked for an hour or so, I'm like, yeah, this guy seems pretty legit. So I gambled a little bit on him, and that's how I kind of got hooked up with Dave, and the rest is history.
That's super cool, because I remember when the 556 came out, and it wasn't what I wanted, right? It wasn't what a lot of people
exactly
wanted. It was like, oh, it's got a AR buttstock on it and a quad rail. Like, no, thank you. That's not really what I want.
Like, I liked it, but I'm just like, once I realized what it should have been, and that's what happened. I was doing with Mike at Colorado Gun Sales, converting one, and I realized, well, shoot, by the time you convert it, because he was doing full conversions, pretty much just reusing your barrel, trunnion, and receiver, and then everything else was Swiss. So it kind of, I have to give credit to Mike Ott. with with the other when he did those Louisiana wildlife fishing game 551s. I guess that was my first 100% Swiss gun. I cannot remember if I got it or the 553 first, but close together either way.
Very cool. Yeah, I did get a 551 from Dave, kind of. As soon as I started finding your videos, honestly, I was like, oh shoot, JDI, what's that? And I gave him a call, I think, and I bought a 551, and then I was like, hey, I want a 551, obviously, but what I really want is a PE90, like a 550. And he's like, yeah, I got one. You want it?
Yeah.
And I bought that too. So back in the
And
day,
that was-
they were a little more affordable.
That was a thing to get him to import them as PE90s. They finally agreed to the 550s, but it took a while to get a variance to even let them have that name PE90 on there. The ATF did not like that for a while.
Yeah, I bet not. Well, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you for your Swiss content.
I definitely think spending $5 or $6K on a PE90 is much wiser than spending $7K on a AK-12.
Ooh, shots fired at that guy that wanted one.
Well, yeah, I'm so
Cool.
glad I bought
Hey,
those guns when
that's
I
actually a
did.
great pivot. What if you spent that amount of money on another clone gun, maybe the SR3M from Roswell? So the next super chat, $5 from Chips Dubo 11110. He wants to know. He just tuned in. Misha's thoughts on the new SR3M from Roswell. Did you pay attention to that?
No,
from
I'm
Shot
sorry.
Show, Misha?
I'm sorry I didn't. I did my best to look at SHOT Show, but again, all the noise now. I did my best. In fact, I got snowed in out here, so I did watch quite a few videos, but I did not see that one. And that's the sad thing is a lot of the little vendors that I wish would get more attention that actually have cool stuff kind of get lost in all the noise from Glock and FN and Colt. Well, I guess Colt didn't do much this year. SIG then, whatever. And I do agree that generally speaking, some of the coolest stuff. But yeah, tell me about it.
I'd say they got a ton of publicity, which was cool. This was one of those SHOT Shows where like none of the big guys were doing anything cool. This little company, Roswell, down in the basement, decided to clone this very obscure Russian 9x39 variant of like a later version of a Val, a little short PDW version with threads where you can put whatever can you want on it. And it was the absolute talk of SHOT Show, in my opinion, certainly if you're into com block stuff. So people were kind of curious, but like you said, it's hard to pay attention.
Yeah, I do my best, but it's there's always going to be that void. I never have actually got to mess with the 9x39 when I was in Russia. They weren't really around, at least not where I was at and had access to. They had some 9mm type guns. The AK-107 was cool, but that we're talking 20 years ago, so a lot of the stuff is aged out now. Yeah, I do my best to keep up, but I keep in mind too, since I can't see what's on the screen, if there's not a good description of what's there, like a lot of the SHOT Show videos were only 1 or 2 minutes, and it was just looking at the booth. Those aren't terribly edifying for me. I'm not blaming anyone for doing it. I understand that normally it works fine. It just doesn't work well for me. So sometimes I will just wait until I can either get hands on something or I get on the phone with whoever and can just quiz them about it for, a few minutes.
Interesting. That's actually interesting. So before I read the next question, since we're talking about Russian guns, when you spent some time in Russia, you didn't do any gun stuff while you were there, right? So you wouldn't have been able to even get hands on anything while you were there, because I think you were there for teaching, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I was on and off. Why do you think I didn't get hands on guns?
I'm just curious. Maybe you did. I don't know.
I did. Yeah.
Cool.
I was gonna say nothing. It doesn't matter now because a lot of the times they weren't supposed to let me. But sharing a bottle of vodka, I was actually at the Tank Museum over in Kursk one New Year's, and anyway, but the way gun laws over there are done, it's very restrictive for anyone, not to mention foreign citizens. But my father-in-law was a retired Red Army major, so that helps.
I feel like you've told me that. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't.
Hmm.
That's a super interesting tidbit. This next question, I'd love to hear your input on it. Wills tips another $5. He wants to know, in your opinion, is it worth trying to get into building parts kit AKs or just modding imports as a business in 2026? I guess if you decide to be a gunsmith.
As a business, I mean, if you can build, if you're good at it, I get emails almost on the daily. Hey, do you know a good AK builder? But you know how picky people are. Some of it's totally legitimate, like we're talking about guns blank. Some of it is just like, oh, this rivet is a little bit off shaped and I hate it. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's cosmetic. So if you get into building, you're going to be beloved, but I guarantee you sooner or later you're going to get that customer. So just be prepared. And you do have to do your work, but there's a lot of demand for quality AK builders. But you know, the investment to get the right tooling and setup and is not insignificant.
Can you describe that guy's profile picture? The previous guy.
Oh, his profile picture is a guy wearing a gimp suit mask, eating a taco through the zipper hole.
I love it. That is great. Oh, Jesus Christ. I know you've heard this joke from me before, but whenever someone sends me photos and I'll respond like, hey, yeah, if they're friends, I'm like, I can't see these right. Or if it's a stranger, I was like, God, thank you, but it doesn't help me. And then they always send back like, oh, I thought fill in the blank could, read the pictures too. Like, you don't read pictures, but never mind. And my joke is, I don't have a government issued GIMP that just lives in the closet. I can just pull out to do stuff. Like people are busy, so I've got to prioritize what's important.
Man, I thought you did. So
he died.
Yes, you got to feed him.
More than tacos, apparently.
The cats ate them.
Taco Bell. Well, that was afterwards. It's like, well, good news is I don't have to make cat food for 6 months.
This next question, I'm not too sure what he means. Maybe you guys can help me out here. Josh tips $10. He says, okay, any new or used rifle. I live in a non-free state. Can I get a tax stamp to get one? Any ideas? This is the same guy that asked about the AK-12. So I'm not too sure what he's asking.
I don't think most non-free states allow tax stamps at all. I mean, usually they shut down SBRs or all that real quick. But again, different states have different rules. But typically, like, you're not getting an SBR in California. I don't care what you do.
Okay, here's a question I was going to ask you, but this gentleman beat me to it. Key Mops 35 tips $5. He wants to know, can you recommend an AKM for a beginner, preferably in 5.56, that is affordable, not too cheap, but will last? Basically, a buy once type of deal.
I mean, AKM specifically, how close to it? I mean, I think my feelings. The Brill is the best one, but it is not an AKM. Next to that, you're talking about I think Zastava does really well. Again, not exactly an AKM. If you absolutely want that spec, you're pretty much limited to the Wasser 3, which Snatch is the thing. I still need to fix that gun. And then, of course, there's the Pioneer guns, but especially the 5.56 ones I've heard things about. And I really do like WBP, and I don't think their 5.56s are bad. I just don't think they're near as good as their 7.62 by 39s, if that makes sense. But I mean, if you really want an AKM, those are pretty much your options in that caliber. But if you're able to be a little bit flexible, I'd say the Zastava M90 is a great entry level that won't break the bank and should last you.
I could not agree more. In fact, I'm actually paid by Zastava to agree with you on that point. I
Correct.
think Mark is too.
Correct.
Yeah, we all are, I think, actually.
Yeah, there's a check coming.
Yeah, those Zastava checks, man, they never bounce.
I need to get that again. WBP is the only one that pays me right now. And Klastikov yesterday used to, but the check started bouncing. So fuck, I don't know.
Well, we all know why those were bouncing.
Yeah, because it was off Bonnie.
Right.
Who
Checks
is
were
Miss
bouncing off that
Rotten?
booty. Okay, Zenit Coleslaw. Great name. Tips $5.
Yes, it
He
is.
says, MISHACO is AK Jesus. I'm building a 1980 Romy RPK currently and can't decide if I install a side optic rail or not. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't unless you want one because most wouldn't have it. And besides, all your AES 10Bs got the rail, so yeah, be a little different. Why not? Because generally speaking, they most of them wouldn't have it anyway. That's an interesting year too because it's kind of a transitional period for things like the bipod. Actually, gives you some options. You probably want the Type 2 bipod, but you could probably get away with either one on that one, frankly.
I have a question about the Romy RPKs. So the AES 10 comes in with a carry handle, but I was talking to Zach Schaefer and he nerded out and said that technically the Romy 545 RPKs were the only ones that had the carry handle. It never really was a 7.62 thing. Is that true?
Mhm. That is true.
Wow.
But there's no reason you couldn't put one on.
Yeah, I think it's super cool.
Yeah, I left it on mine. I mean, if you get an AS10 and don't like it, that just pops right off. So it's a big thing, but it's different and it doesn't hurt anything. But yeah, technically it's the 545s. And I'm sure it's just on there because that was their current spec when they were doing those receivers. So why?
And you know, before he showed me that picture, I didn't even know there was a Romy 545 AK. I didn't even know that existed.
At least some of them, they have a birdcage flash hider. They got a flip up butt plate. They're kind of cool. I'm really sad that Century has never imported even if a limited batch of AES 2s. I really wish we had seen that gun because there's no reason under the sun except Century never ordered them that we couldn't have it.
Yep, that would have been cool, especially back when maybe around COVID. That would have been a hot seller when 545 was cheap.
Yeah.
Hey, Rodrigo, did you have any questions queued up for MISHACO?
Man, so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. I guess my question for Misha was Greg actually stole it from me, but I wanted to know like how many more of the 551s are gonna get imported by JDI? Is it like every year you hear there's so many that come in and then you're like, is it gonna dry up at any point where you're like, man, these things are gonna be worth a lot more if you don't scoop one up?
First off, if he stole that from me, we should put him in the GIMP mask. Secondly, what I can tell you for sure is Dave won't be doing this forever. And, even if he orders guns, it takes months for them to get here, and it's usually small quantities. Now, once in a while, they will call him and be like, hey, we did a run of this gun for whatever company. While we're already set up to do them, do you want a few? We have some extra ones. So sometimes that's why they just pop out of nowhere. So he doesn't even know he's getting them until they call him because they're ready. But usually, he'll order 50 of something, and it takes the better part of a year for them to make them and send them over. I mean, when the 552s came in, good grief, we waited over a year to get those. So they're very slow. And there's things that I know that I really can't talk about publicly, but I can say that his plan isn't to do this until he's 80, if that makes sense. So reading between the lines, even if the factory overseas is still doing their thing, who's to say there'll be an importer in America available?
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Thank you.
I don't know how far they're going to go with their more modern 5.6 series, the 5.5, the 5.6.1, the 5.6.3. They're trying to push that over there, but I don't know how much success they're having.
It's my opinion. It's kind of a miracle that they're imported at all. So
Yeah,
you
mine
should,
too.
if you want one, you should get it.
Well, and as we've seen, the price never goes down. Like when I bought my first one from Dave, they were $3,200.
Golly. Well, thanks, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Misha, here's actually something we talked about on the phone. So briefly, Philly fan tips $2. He wants to know, are you allowed to recommend an FRT for a Wasser 10 UF? Now, we talked a little bit about our FRTs. Curious what your thoughts are on them briefly. And can you recommend one?
My thoughts. Okay. Look, if the price is 760 by 39, I'm looking for ways to stretch out what I have, not burn through more of it. So, okay, if you can afford to shoot one, great. They're awfully low. It's not my thing. I'll just say that it is not. For one thing, the trigger groups are expensive. I mean, they have to be for what they are, and they're pretty not permanent. They're permanent in the sense that you can't just pop them in and out like a magwell adapter. They're in your gun. It's just not my thing. It really isn't. I don't know. I've never really messed with my Wasser and went, I wish this fired faster. I'm pretty good at rapid firing, and I'm running out of 760 by 39 right now anyway.
All right. So Misha says, don't buy one. Now, this next question is really
Misha says Misha doesn't want one. You do you, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. They're neat, but I feel like the neatness will wear off. And I know no one on the live right now agrees with me. We've talked about it in the Shield Guild chat. Yeah. Here's a really good question. Now, this gentleman tips $50 straight to MISHACO. And by the way, Misha, there's 330 people watching, which is very high for our live stream. So people truly do love you. They're here to see you. So just so you know, a lot of people are here to tune into you. Negligent Discharge tips 50 freaking dollars, and he wants to know, Misha, top 3 American AK builders that are alive and still building AKs today in no specific order.
You know, you hit on something that makes me sad. It's the alive part. I don't know if I could rank them now because most of the guys I knew have left us, and that is terribly sad. I will say this though, I don't think there's one just best AK builder overall. I think it does come down to what you want, because some guys are really good at doing classic milled AKs, but maybe if you ask them to build a barrel, they wouldn't get it. And also I would say this too. A lot of times when guys show me an AK and they're really proud of the build, it's too pretty for me. Like I like an AK to look like an AK, but this is just my taste. You know, I don't want super high polished hot blue. I love the blue like on Zastavas or like on those Polish kits at the very least we get. You know, it's a high grade blue, but it's not commercial. So I personally like a gun that looks military. And this is a story from my buddy Steve Hovermail, who is a great AK builder, by the way. He's the only guy I've ever known that could straighten a barrel and actually make it shoot better. But he was talking about doing rewelds and rewelding it back together and then replicating the lathe and machine mark patterns across the side of the receiver to blend it all together. Because he and I were agreeing that an AK receiver should never be just smooth. It needs to have chatter marks on it and stuff. So my personal taste is a builder who would do that. In the past, I used Jeff Hillbilly to do some. I used Rick Smith to do some. I've used Steve. But the truth is, I haven't done just a lot of high-end builds. Either I've done it myself with some help from friends here, or I just mostly buy imports. But I do think it kind of comes to what you're looking for and who specializes in what.
Well, maybe to appease this gentleman, can you name a few, maybe a couple, maybe guys that aren't here anymore that were just, in your mind, some of the best of their time?
I sent a couple of kits over to Firing Line because they're next to me in Oklahoma, and they built some really pretty guns out of that. Vector, back in the day, before, I can't wait to do a video when I can talk about that whole what happened to them one day. But they sent me some mill Bulgarians that were gorgeous. They used some really high end kits and built them on Arsenal receivers, and those looked really nice. Yeah, I don't know. And this is going to be unpopular, but I've had some pretty nice builds come out of Atlantic too. I've got that one that one Russian I picked up a few years ago from them, and I feel like they did a. Oh, and another one too, Legion USA, back when they were kind of at the peak of their game 10 years ago. I felt like, and what I really like Legion, they built to the same standards of a Russian factory, for better or worse, mostly for the better. But that thing felt like a factory Saiga or Vepr, and I thought that was pretty nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, man.
I mean,
Alex,
and I'll say this too: old school Arsenal custom shop back, 20 years ago when Arsenal was building stuff. Oh, those things are gorgeous.
yep, I have one that I'm very happy with.
Yeah, you see where they got their reputation that they ended up with. They earned it way back when.
So Alex Davernoff again, freaking fantastic leathersmith, is in the comments. He tips $5 and he wants to know, are there any AK style rifles that fall under CNR 50 plus years old?
No, because the earliest imports would have been the Modis. And no, well, okay, are we counting Valmets? If we count Valmets, then yes.
Oh, that's right.
But that's like one that came in the 70s. Even the earliest Galils were early 80s. Then you had the Modis, the Chinese guns. I think the original Chinese gun, and so that's still several years off from being seen. Now, if we wait a few years, in the next decade, we're going to see a lot of them getting CNR.
Very true. I never really thought about that we're getting close to some old imports being eligible.
I remember when that happened with the SP1s, and I was like, oh my God, ARs or CNR.
Heck yeah. Okay, here's an interesting one from Mitt Rhombus. He tips $5. He said, if you have a surplus hardwood Romanian dong wood set, should I try to bid for a Wasser 1063 on Gunbroker or buy a new Wasser 10 to throw the furniture on?
I'm a fan of the 1063. I love the markings, and while I can't say I hate the modern Wasser, I feel like it's just they don't feel the same, and they come with that. I don't know, not my deal. But yeah, I'd look for a 1063, especially if it's got an interesting year, because they're just fun.
Yeah, I would agree. The 1063s were a vibe. I miss all the stuff that you got when you picked one up. You had goodies.
You got like that oil stained cardboard box that just smelled like communism, and then just all the stuff in the box, the bayonet, the sling, and they vary it up. You get all kinds of. I would pick through the mag pouches and just keep the cool ones.
Heck yeah. Official Lund tips $10 just to tip it. No question. Thank you, sir.
Just a tip.
Just the tip. Joe Brontosaurus tips another $10, and he said, in a very real and legally binding sense, for Misha beers. So that has to be spent on beer.
How about vodka?
Vodka works.
Lil Sam just tips $5 just because. No comment. Let's see. Will's with I think his third tip, $5. This is the gimp the taco eating gimp. He says, last question. If I can afford either one, what's better between buying a WBP or trying to find an Arsenal SLR series? Stoked. You seen my gimp mask.
I mean, personally, okay, what are you going for? I mean, the SLR series is the modern style, obviously side folding stock, unless it means the SLR 107R, which in that case, hell no, I don't like the 107R. But if you want a modern folder, that's one thing. But I when it comes to the 760 by 39 guns, I think WPPs are really good. And I say that as someone who started off very, very skeptical about them. They have earned it with me just because I've had many of them over the years, and they've run. The worst thing I've had happen is one of them came in with a slightly kind of bent or crushed top cover, and they sent me a replacement. So no big thing.
Cool. Okay. All right, Mark. Mr. Fit and Fire. I know you're geeking out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm geeking out every second we're on the stream with him.
I got a chubster.
We can see it. Well, most of us can. Mark, do you have a question?
Does it look like Kermit?
Yeah, I've actually got 2 questions real quick. First and foremost, Misha, what is your go-to vodka?
Can I show that on camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I know this sounds weird. Of course, I drink nice high-end vodka when I feel like it. But for like just average mixing and whatnot, I just picked up a bottle. I like potato vodka more than grain, and I just go for this stuff, and it's in stores now. But back in the day, it was hard to get. But it's just this Polish Monopolava. It's fine for what it is, for what it costs.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, and you get it liters too. But I like it. It's got a little flavor. A lot of the highly purified stuff just tastes like nothing to me. I like a little flavor in my vodka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm a Stoli fan. That's
I like stuff. I drank that for years. Yeah, that's because that used to be a lot more findable. But when it went up a little bit in price, I kind of eased off a bit.
Yep. But my real question, and we've kind of danced around it a little bit, and it kind of relates back to your video you just pushed out. I can't even speak. On the M90, where do you see the future of 5.56 AKs as far as the U.S. market goes? Do you think it's just going to kind of limp along, or are we going to finally get some manufacturers to figure out how to put these things together correctly?
I mean, logically, it should do well because of the 7.62x39 thing and 5.45x39. That doesn't mean the market is going to be logical, but I will say people have asked about them a lot. The problem is there's not a spec. With 7.60x39, there's a spec, but with 5.56, you've got every country that to one extent or another did their own things, and I think that fundamentally confuses people. Because you can't borrow Yugo spec for this and Bulgarian spec for that. If you're going to stick, you need to kind of go with it. And of course, then there's the attitude of just take the AK-74 and just rechamber it, which works almost, but not quite. But I've never seen this much interest in 5.56 AKs as I have recently, because in the past they were absolutely the redheaded stepchildren of the AK world.
Mm-hmm.
I even knew diehard AK guys that just didn't see the purpose.
The gay K.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that was. So I definitely see more now than we used to have.
For sure. And is there? What would you say is the limiting factor for just rebarreling a 74? Is there a specific issue that ultimately hinders it?
Well, certainly, the port and everything, the way that works. Recoil springs may or may not be. Feed geometry, the trunnion, the mag catch might need tweaking, because that can matter a lot. There's a lot of subtle angles and whatnot that go into a Kalashnikov that people just don't think about. There's a lot of fine machining there, and everything has to sit just right. And of course, 5.56. Are you loading for Tula 223? Or are you loading for M855A1? I mean, that's the problem there is too. There's a huge range, and if you spec one out to run one, it won't run the other one reliably or safely.
Yep. Great comments. Yep.
Cool.
Well, thanks, Mark.
It's not even getting into the whole mag thing too. It's we have more 5.56 mags, but oh man, that's a whole thing too. Which mag to use?
Yeah, and I think that I think of everything that PSA has been doing, they've figured out the 5.56 AK mag. It seems
it's a good mag.
That's solid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want PSA to succeed. I just don't know how they're going to succeed with this current attitude. I wish they had a little bit more AK guy and a little less AR guy on that production line, frankly.
Man, that's a good line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cop that line. I remember back when 106s were still available. I remember there was a major shortage of Circle 10 5.56 mags, and they blew up in value for a short period of time.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And dudes were
Yeah.
selling their Circle 10 mags for like $90 or whatever it was. I remember piling up all my Circle 10 mags, and I told my wife, "Do you have any idea how much money we have just in this one pile of mags?"
I mean, man, just a year or two ago, Barrel mags went up. I put one on Gunbroker for $29, and it shot into the hundreds. I'm like, what the hell?
what?
I was so and I talked to someone else like, oh yeah, Barrel mags are going for $100 plus. I'm like, why?
And they're all plastic too, so it's
Yeah.
like crazy.
But you know what? I've used some of mine for well over 10 years, and they haven't broke. So, yeah. But for what I paid for them, if eventually one of them breaks, oh well.
Oh, freaking well. All right, let me hop back to there's so many super chats. I'm
Sure.
going to try to get to them here. John Doe tips $5. He said, and this is probably also something you're not going to know because it's SHOT Show related. Is there any info about the AK shown at the Bronco booth at SHOT Show? Can 5.56 AKs be imported from Sarmalaz? Am I saying that right? SAR from
Sarsamaz.
Turkey?
It should be Sarsamaz, but
Okay. Yeah, so there was a Turkish booth there called Bronco, and they had some
Huh?
pretty sus looking AKs. I don't think any of us filmed them, but he's interested to know if you know anything about those specifically. Maybe could we get some 5.56 AKs out of Turkey?
Would you want it?
I think what most people automatically assume when it comes to Turkish imports is that they're going to be cheap. You know, you look at like
Fair, yeah.
the TSOS 1911s. You know, they've been solid, or at least decent performers, and
Yeah,
for a really
I
cheap
have no
price.
problem with them. Yeah, I've got one of their high power clones right in there in the room. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're for what they cost, they're fine. Yeah.
And we
Now,
talked to those guys. It's expensive. It's it's pretty pricey for an AK.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the Turkish pistols. You know what I really don't care for are their all those shotgun knockoffs they do, because it just seems like a lot of the components, a lot of the parts are of questionable metallurgy. I don't know, because they're super cheap and they seem like they're almost built as toys, but their pistols and whatnot seem fine.
That Spaz 12 clone they showed at the show felt like that. It felt very toyish. Metals felt very chintzy, but I mean, if it works, I don't
So
know.
what you're saying is it's better than the original Spaz 12.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Hold on, Steve. Do you have an original Spaz 12?
I do, yeah.
Yes, he does.
Does it work?
It does work. So, MISHACO, you probably remember this. So, if you remember, company Spaz 12 project from like 10 plus years ago, maybe they did. There was a guy, U.S. dude. He now is still in the gun industry, but he owned this. It was just him by himself. He had companies reproduce and source, so he would sell parts that commonly went bad on the Spaz. Like he had manufactured the recoil buffers, both flat and conical versions, depending on which style you had in your gun.
Yep.
He had the little bumpers reproduced. He had the C-hooks reproduced. He got slings. I mean, he got a lot of parts that you just couldn't find anywhere. Like you just couldn't find it.
Yeah, I remember the rubbery, the polymer buffery parts. Just didn't hold up. But even if you took really good care of it.
Yeah, when I bought mine, the first outing to the range, I mean, it went through about maybe 10 rounds in semi-auto, and it just started disintegrating and just started falling out of the gun.
Mhm.
And, I had to, at the time, there wasn't a replacement, so there was a gunsmith that actually just, I don't know, dumped some stuff in there and made it, like just molded one and made a buffer for it. And then once this Spaz 12 project was off and running, I bought some of those, bought parts that I needed, stuff that was missing and all that stuff. So, but yeah, no, I don't shoot it a lot. I have shot it and it still works fine. But since it is in great condition, I try to keep it that way.
I've got a lot of guns like that. They will shoot, but yeah, I just why put wear and tear and risk breaking apart on a really valuable gun when I've got other guns that shoot just like it that I don't worry about.
Yeah.
That's why I don't shoot my Valmet much. It works fine, and I don't worry about really breaking apart. But why? I can go shoot how many other guns that are similar?
Well, Lil Sam 2889 tips $5. Very specific question. Where
Okay.
are all the 5.56 RPKs? Where have they gone?
What do you mean all?
Where are they? Are you hiding them?
There are very few 5.56 RPKs. I think the only nation that ever adopted was the island of Fiji. The only ones in this country that you had those arsenals, which aren't really RPKs, but we'll call them one. And then you had those Vepr 1Vs, which never went anywhere because Royal Tiger cocked that up big time because they're Royal Tiger. Those are the only imports I can think of. There was never any Romanian stuff. Not a lot of foreign nations even made the RPK. It was pretty limited production. Now use was pretty big, but most of them around the world were made by Molot.
What's the one? You have to excuse me because I'm not the AK guy on this channel. But didn't Zastava or somebody isn't there a more recent RPK that has been on the market or is on the market currently? Was it Zastava?
Yeah, but it's a 7.6239.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. I've never seen a 223 Zastava. I've seen a 308 before, back in the day, but not 223.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where are they?
In gun safes or police evidence rooms.
You have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow.
Here's a tip for $5. You kind of touched on it earlier. Gender bent chocolate milky wants to know.
Do I even want to know what that picture is?
No picture.
Oh.
He wants to know, what are your opinions on the Waffen Works AK-74s?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, exactly. Started off very strong, and then they tried to scale up production, and they had issues. Now, who's to say how frequently they were? But the internet got a hold of it. Even back then, it was forums posts back then. But yeah, they definitely did have some receiver issues and whatnot. But that's a great example of someone who started off when they were doing low key production. And when they got successful, it just didn't scale up too well for them. But in the beginning, they made a really good Bulgarian AK, and they did side folders the right way too, which is pretty cool.
Is there a way to tell if you're getting one before the ramp up in quantity when the
I would say rule of thumb, if it still has the original Nodak type receiver, you're a pretty good chance. If I remember correctly, keep in mind this happened before. This is like when Obama first went into office, so that long ago. I believe most of the issues were with their in-house receivers. So if you get one that's on the Nodak receiver, you're probably pretty solid, pretty good.
Okay, good to know. Joe Brontosaurus tips another $10, and he said, "Here's the extra for the Tito's."
Thanks. I was talking about Tito today, but a different one.
Hey Clay, I got a question when you get to it.
All right, let me get through one more here. Official Lund tips another $5. He said, "I have a Fuller Phoenix Hungarian with effing barrel, Cineco folding stock and handguard and gas tube cover, Surefire flash hider, test fired only. What's it worth?"
$2.
About 350.
About
I mean, whatever you can get out of it. But I mean, a lot of the extra custom stuff, it doesn't matter because it's personal taste, and that's fine. It's our stuff, but it doesn't really add a lot of value. But that's hard to say. It really is. I mean, it's whatever you can get out of it right now. And I wish I could give a better answer, but it also depends if you mean selling it local or a gun broker or putting it up in a gun shop to sell, or a gun shop, I should say. Where you're going to sell it. And I could keep in mind too, gun broker takes a %. A gun shop will take a %. So take home money might not be what you'd hope for.
I'd say trade value, you have a lot. There's a guy in our shill guild that got like 3 guns for a OK AK that just had some rare Zenico on it, and he got 3 pretty cool guns out of the trade. I'd say you have more value in trade.
Yeah, I think you're right there, as opposed to just cash. I do know I wasn't really looking, but I hopped on Atlantic's. Oh, I was looking for a Zastava mags, like me and you were talking about an email, and I saw where Atlantic had Molot RPK drums $600,
Yep.
and I went, holy hell, because I was getting those from Legion USA for about $50 with the pouch. But that's what happens when you sanction a country. I mean, that's so anything Russian. I agree is just well. The same thing happened with SVD stuff between the HD18s coming in and all the sanctions, because that happened very close together. All of a sudden, Russian SVD parts just went insane.
Steve, I'll read this last one. It's more of a comment than a question. Jake's Custom Parts tips Misha $20, and he says, "Thanks, Misha. A long time ago, I got a Vepr 12 from you. It's awesome. All these years later, God bless everyone." So
I'm glad I got one and listen, because years ago, Jay and I put out a video when they were $7.99. Like, hey, even back then, we had enough sense that it's probably never going to be this good again. And the Vepr 12 was just. It was awesome, and they came in. It was done right. It was high quality. They had enough on the market. No, I love the Vepr 12. That's just a tank, and that's the way to do like a tactical shot right.
I agree. They're freaking awesome. Make great post samples too.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just infinite. You cut the barrel down, throw a can on them, and the fact that the mags are available, the 8, the 10s. And we lived in such a desert before those came in. Like they just came out of nowhere and were just a dream come true.
Steve, what was your question?
So a lot of what you guys are talking about in the AK world is like Spanish to me, so I feel like Rodrigo a little bit. But I have I really only have one AK that I consider like a real AK. So I mean, I'm just going to throw this gun out to you, and you just tell me what it is to you. Cool factor, like 1 to 10. All right. So it might not be anything, but I mean, to me, it's like, okay, this is, I think, pretty cool. So originally when I got it, it was it's a Yugo M70B. So it has the grenade spigot and so the actuator to cut the gas tube off. I got it when I got it. They were still available. The guy, when I got it at the shop, told me, he was like, "Hey man, these things are like some of the better AKs you can get." And at the time, we're talking like late 2000s, maybe like 07. It was $5.99, I think I paid for it. And so fast forward to maybe not 5 years ago, I wanted to make it sort of a more accurate what I thought the Yugo was with the spigot, and put an underfolder on it. And so I changed out the receiver to what I'm told is a good company, Childers receiver, that has the correct Yugo markings and third position markings and things, and put an underfolder on it. So that's the build. It's a Yugo M70B Childers receiver underfolder with a functional gas cutoff for the grenade launcher. Is that a cool build, 1 to 10?
Okay, it's an M70 AB2. And did it start off with a fixed stock or an underfolder?
It started off with a fixed stock, yes.
Gotcha. So was it a Century Arms gun?
I'm
assuming it almost had to be, because I mean, an 07, unless it was just like a custom build.
No, it was off the shelf. I think it was imported by Century. That's what the receiver. So
no, they wasn't imported. It was built by them.
But it said Yugo on the receiver, I'm pretty sure. Yugoslavian.
It didn't.
Are you sure? I'm telling you it did.
Yugoslavia doesn't exist after 1991, man. If it was imported, it would have said Serbia.
Yeah, Century did a lot of Yugo kit builds at the time.
Yeah, it would have said like M70B1 Sporter. Oh, I know what it is. Some of those, Clay, had instead of having the date, they said Yugoslavia on the trunnion. I bet he got one where the original trunnion markings, for Zastava were left intact. So I bet that's where it said it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like even Rodrigo's those recently surplused M70 AB2s that all went out that had the grind marks on the the Boars. We both bought one. I do not have the factory Zastava engravings. His does.
Yep.
So could be that. Just still has the
The
engravings.
good news is, since it wasn't an import, it was just a Century build, and they were good builds. I bought one. You changing the receiver out didn't hurt any value, and they are good guns. They had Green Mountain barrels, which were fine, perfectly fine. I really like them. In fact, I think the first gun I after the ban came off in 05 was one of the Century AB2s, which is the underfolding version. Well, I bought it twice because the first time I bought it, the UPS truck ran it over, so I had to order it again. But yeah, no, they were good. But no, you didn't destroy an import or anything, because back then the only imports were these weird thumbhole stock jobbers. They didn't start bringing over correct ones to like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
even
it's
those
a
that we're
good gun.
talking about, Misha, some of those would have had possibly like slant cut receivers.
Oh yeah, they had like the weird. I have a question. You said you're not an AK guy, so what's your main bag? Like, what guns are you really into?
Well, his channel is Steve MP5.
Yeah, I'm into roller locks. I mean, that's probably like my.
So, I'm assuming like lever actions. No,
Yeah. No, I have those. I do all that kind of. But I mean,
I've just.
yeah, no, I got it. I mean, the main thing I like is sort of the old roller locks, like the legacy MP or HK stuff, and but I mean a lot of everything. But I mean that's kind of what I lean a lot towards is that.
I'm really hoping back to the Turkish stuff. I would love to see, since they have done the AP51. I'm so much wanting a G3K out of there, and we've gotten everything but we got those 12-inch, 12.5-inch 223s from Zenith years ago. We've got the 9-inch 308s. Why can they not do a 12.5-inch 308? I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, so years ago, back when from what people are saying, when PTR was still in pretty good QC, I mean, I bought one of their 12.5-inch.
Oh yeah, the K3P. Yeah.
Yeah, K3Ps. I bought one of those in SBR and did the whole thing, kind of kept it clone correct, but yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a hole in the market. I mean, PTR is the only one filling that slot right now. So
yeah, and I'd rather wait for an import. I'm not dogging on PTR; they're not bad at all, but I think I'd still prefer, because PTR is still not doing the pin to lower, as far as I know, and they're not quite doing spec, like the mag release. The paddle doesn't quite feel right. It's just not quite there to what I want.
no, I understand.
Yeah, I really like the look of like the early HK G3s, the wood furniture ones and stuff. They're just
Oh yeah,
cool.
those are beautiful.
And I was super stoked and impressed with the AP5 SD when those came out. They did a lot better job with that than I thought they were going to.
Yeah, I was really excited last year when they brought in the AP53, the short 5.5.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I had to get one of those and make it a whole clone correct gun too. Because again, nobody's making those. Nobody.
Yeah, and I love that they had the right flash hider. I mean, really, to make it clone correct, it was a pretty simple process.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I shoot the crap out of mine. It was, it's funny. All I ever do is AK content, and that AP53 video is probably the biggest video over there, like the last 2 years. So much hype around those, came completely out of left field, and that to me is just one of the cool things that made SHOT Show of last year so much better than SHOT Show of this year. A lot of cool stuff like that.
And it actually came out. I didn't end up with that AP53 yet because Jay got one, and then my friend Tim got one. So all my friends have them, but I need to go ahead and keep one next batch that comes in, because I do like them. But usually when something's brand new to market, I won't always keep it in the store, because people are going to pay that new price, and I'll wait till it goes on sale and the hype dies down just a little bit.
Yeah, and kid, if there's anyone watching that doesn't know, Misha operates his own FFL, has for a long time.
Yeah, even longer than the channel. Yeah, it wasn't like I started because of the channel. I've been doing it a few years before the channel got going.
Well, Misha, we currently have 400 people watching, so people have not lost interest in the cats at all. In fact, I noticed the view count spiked when the cat entered frame. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Sort of jumping around me there.
Yeah, you gotta. So we have so many super chats. I'm gonna try to get through a few
Okay.
of them. Mitt Rhombus.
I'll be brief then.
Mitt Rhombus tips $5, and this must have been when we were talking earlier. He said it's sad because PSA could be great if they weren't shady, arrogant, and actually fix their out of spec rivets, bolts, gas blocks, carrier, and trunnions. That's all he wanted to tell you.
I'm not disagreeing, but anyway.
Let's see, man. Joe Brontosaurus tips another $5. Opinion on Larry Vickers going to jail for stealing the technical packages for the AK-100 series. His words, not mine, but that's his question.
You know, I've talked to Larry. I don't wish him on that, but you know, he played with the law, and he's smart enough to know he was kind of skirting the edge of things, and he got caught. And he's a very high profile person, and you know, in these political times, there's one thing to do when you're in your home and no one sees you, but I mean, he's on the internet. Everyone knows who he is, and yeah, I mean, he knew what he was doing, and it sucks, but yeah, it sucks all around.
Gibbs Customs tips $10. He asks, what youth AK programs have you seen? My kids love building. What historical models or technical framework do you know? Do you recommend for teaching the next generation of armorer skills safely? Sorry.
I've never really thought like youth AK. I mean, a lot of my best memories are just going out with friends, family, parents. You know, maybe learn yourself and take your kids out. It could be a great bonding experience to go out and shoot with their dad AK stuff. I don't know. I definitely am a big proponent of getting family involved and kids involved. That's why I try to keep my channel clean. I mean, I'm not a very vulgar person anyway, but whenever I think about doing it, I realize there could be kids, and I want it to be that way. And of course, some of my nieces and nephews watch too. So, yeah, I like the idea though.
Gender bent chocolate milky. He's back again. Another $5. He wants to know, are Meridian Defense rifles worth the price today? Maybe not the new 100 series, but just in general, do you consider their guns worth the price?
I mean, if you wanna pay for it, yeah. Me, myself, and I for what they charge, I think I'd still stick for an import. But that's just me. I'm not. I mean, they're nice guns, but I don't know that a WBP or a Zastava is functionally any different or any worse at the range.
Yeah, it's hard to. If you did the Pepsi challenge and you didn't know what you were shooting and they put it in your hand, could you feel that price difference, that drastic price difference? I don't know.
I don't either. And maybe you could, but here's the thing too: resale value. I'm not saying you should sell your guns, but it's always nice to know that even if you keep it your whole life and your kid gets it, whatever. I just people are gonna know who Zastava, who Arsenal are. Are they gonna know who Meridian is 10 years from now, 20 years from now? I have no idea. Maybe.
Yeah, you know, a good point. I've noticed, this is just me, I've just noticed that like I see a lot of Rifle Dynamics AKs hit the used market at low prices, like not holding value. And it's typically not the ones that were made while Jim was there. It's the ones after Jim left. They really are not holding the resale value now. And that's the thing. It's like, how do you prove this thing was made back when Jim was there? I don't know. Maybe there's a way to, but I've noticed a lot of RD guns specifically are not holding value. So, and that's about as big as a name gets with AKs going in this country.
I live near Wilson Combat, and even have had friends that work for them over the years. And you know, those guns sell for big bucks new, but the minute they hit the secondary market, they go quick. I mean, excuse me, the price goes down quick because what might have been a $4,000 new is now a $2,000 because big people who spend that kind of money want to get it brand new and maybe customized, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like buying a Harley or something. Leave it bone stock, maybe you'll sell it, you'll get a decent amount back. You add the flames, all the crazy chrome, you make it just the way you wanted it, very specific to you, it absolutely will hurt the resale value.
That's what I was saying earlier when the gentleman was asking about, what's his AK worth. I tend to see, obviously Zenitco is a special case, but a lot of the customizing stuff that you do for you, best case, it doesn't detract from value, but it rarely adds to it.
Yeah, I would agree. Negligent discharge tips another $50. And I know this dude has watched you for a long time because of what he asks in his question. He says, not including your first AK, the SAR-1, what is your holy grail gun that you own and would go to the grave with?
Okay, AK or in general? If it were AK, it's really hard for me not to say the Valmet, not because of the value, but just because I always wanted one, if that makes sense. And I love Finnish history. But if you're talking about any gun in my collection, man, there's so many guns. I mean, I won't lie, my MP44 is pretty up there.
Is that the German-made one?
Misha? Yeah, it's the 1940. What's mine? 44, 40. I forget the date on it now. 44, 45. I forget what it is now. I've had it a minute, but yeah.
I know how many guns he has, and it's got to be like Neo in the movie where all the guns, because he's got a 7-hour-long video on his gun collection, so I'm sure he's scanning the file.
No. To be fair, that was just a case. But then again, like my Swiss SIGs, like I never thought I'd have a real PE90 or a real 5.52, so they would be really high up there. But then again, I never thought I'd have a Molot RPK 74, so one is really hard, because it really gets into what mood I'm in this moment, because I also have a lot of bolt actions I really love.
Okay, so Valmet, MP44, maybe one of the really choice SIGs.
Yeah, because probably the 5.52, just because the PE90 is great, but 5.52 is just so cool.
Christoph NTX tips $2, and he just says 5.56 RPKs are coming. Maybe he knows something we don't know.
I think it'd be a good time for it, especially if they get the RPK mags, because truly those Molot 45 round mags are bank.
Mountain Makes tips $10. Greetings from a fellow Arkansan. I have a converted AK-101 slab side Sega 5.56 and an Arsenal SLR 106F. I'm thinking of selling one. Which would you keep and why? Your legend, Misha.
Which I'm curious what mountains he's in, because maybe we're in the same mountains right now. What was that first? What was the Russian AK again? What did you say?
He has a converted AK-101 slab side, so from like a Saiga Sporter.
So it's a Saiga, not a Vepr, because they did have some slab side Veprs too.
Yep, Saiga for sure.
Okay, Saiga. Okay, yeah. Man, it's just hard how to convert. I mean, if it were me, I'd probably sell the Arsenal, because they do really well. I sold my 106 CR, no regrets, because it brought like twice what I thought it was worth. I like them, but there's something about being a Russian. Now I'm assuming the conversion was done right, tastefully. It's not like one of the weird clutch together. And of course, there's always a chance the 106s could come back. I don't think it'll happen, but legally, there's no reason. I don't think we're going to ever see Russian AKs again from Russia. I think too much water under that bridge, unfortunately.
Damn, I really didn't want to hear you say that.
I mean, man, my wife hasn't been able to go see family in 7 years because of the political situation. If you can't even go visit your family over there, what are the chances of getting guns? I mean, things could change, but we've been through Democrat and Republican administrations, and we're kind of in the exact same position regardless.
Yeah, it's a freaking bummer. AK Nut tips $4.99 just to do it. No comment.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Let me get to one more, and then there's still a couple guys on the stream one guy that has not gotten to ask his question yet. Let's see. Josh tips $2. You guys got to get these clowns out of here. Who's the who? You got to name them. Who? All right, let's see here. $5 for Clay. What prompted you to choose to go to Thunder on the Tundra this year? To go see Mark Krebs. That was the main goal. Mark Krebs. I know Misha was asked this question earlier, but Mark, in my opinion, is probably he's on the Mount Rushmore of living AK gunsmiths today. He's up there. Maybe I don't know if there was a Mount Rushmore, he's definitely on it. But I want to meet him and hang out and spend some real time with him over like 2 days. I've met him on a dozen occasions, but I've never really got to spend time with the guy. I want to film with him. So I booked it around Thunder on the Tundra because I know he's going. So I want to go hang out with Mark at his shop. I want to see him do what he does. I idolize the guy. That's why I'm going to Thunder on the Tundra.
Where does Mark Krebs live?
In Wakanda, Illinois. Wakanda forever.
Okay.
I knew that was coming. I've got my friend Steve lives up in Indiana, and I've been thinking about doing like a trip up, kind of just going that way and back because I know a lot of people in Illinois and Indiana that I'd love to visit one day.
Genderbent Chocolate Milky tips $5. He says, I have added a profile picture since Misha was concerned about it. Greg, how would you explain what that is?
So it appears to be a fleshy part of the body with a face. It's not clear what part of the body it is, but it's certainly suggestive. It's hairy.
Exactly. See, I mean, with a name like that, you gotta embrace it. You gotta go with it.
There's a lot of body hair.
It's a Rorschach test.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing. It's good that you can't see it.
It has like a 5 o'clock shadow.
I one time paid a Canadian $100 on a live stream to take his clothes off because I knew the rest of the chat would suffer. I didn't, obviously.
Oh, here we go. I know this guy. The Unusual Civilian tips $10. Does MISHACO know where I can source a new bolt for a 106? My firing pin channel opened up all funky and I need a new one. And to get it rehead spaced.
Have you hollered at Arsenal? I mean, they have a warehouse. They have a bunch of crap there.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe if you can get a hold of Cliff or some of the guys that have been there a long time. They might. I mean, look, I'll shoot my shot sometimes. I remember I needed an FB firing pin. And I sent an email to AOA, and my email does not scream, "This is me." It's just a random email. And they went back and found one on a random shelf when you couldn't find them and said, "Sure, I'll throw it in the bag and let me buy one." So
I would ask.
I agree.
But yeah, Cliff's pretty solid if you can get a hold of him. He'll help if he can. I mean, I know Arsenal's got a bit of a I don't think Arsenal's perfect. I think their reputation is a little undeserved. They don't suffer fools well. But I think if it's a serious thing, they're pretty good about stuff.
Hey Kyle, sorry, did you have a question for Misha?
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Misha. It's funny. I just discovered you probably a couple of years ago. I'm relatively new to the AK game, but I've been on YouTube probably like 7-8 years now. And with these guys, we have our own like Shill Guild chat group. We talk all the time. Recently, we all went on a tangent with some Bushmaster LEO trade-ins and all got some.
Yeah.
And it's just like unique things that are always interesting. So from me, what is the most easily accessible, maybe best choice for a beginner surplus in 2026 that you would suggest?
Ooh, do you mean pistol, rifle? Give me
anything. Yeah, something. I guess. Do a rifle. What's a good military surplus rifle nowadays that a beginner who wants to start collecting something cool and unique would want to go after in 2026?
I know this is a little boring, but SKSs, especially Chinese, still aren't crazy. That's a good place to start. I mean, there's a lot of history there. If you want a self-loading rifle, I've always been a huge fan of the M1 carbine, but they're really getting expensive. They're not crazy, but they're going up. But there's also a lot of skill set in a bolt action, and there's a bunch of. I think if it were my choice, but the ammo's a little limited. I love infields. There's nothing. Infield bolt guns a lot, and they're not stupid expensive, frankly, for what they are right now.
You can find them in 308 too, which is nice.
Yeah, like in one of the Indian 2A or 2A ones. Yeah, and you can tell someone it's high cap because it holds 12 rounds, and yeah, but yeah, and you can find the Mausers in 308, Chilean, Israeli, whatever. I love bolt actions, just fun. But there's a lot of stuff that's a little off the beaten path. I didn't say Mosin, only because they've gone up so dang much recently
Yeah.
that I kind of feel like they're a little high right now.
I agree on the 308 Mausers, even 8mm Mausers. I mean, 8mm is
Yeah.
pretty cheap right now. There's a ton of surplus for
Ditto.
That-
I've got
at the
cases
same
of like
price,
the
308.
Yugo stuff. What is it? The M49. What was their the Yugo loadings? I've just got tens of it, and why not?
Yeah, I did a video recently on the Ishapur 308 infield. Dude, that thing was like $399, and it's a really cool old bolt surplus gun. And I go to gun shows all the time, and I'm seeing, now that I know to look for the 308 Ishapurs, I can spot them from a mile away, and I see them all the time for sub 500. So it gives you the look of a really cool surplus World War I bolt action in an attainable caliber. That's really cool. I've really been singing that gun's
And
praises.
and it was a military issue. Like those were used in the wars against Pakistan in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, second line, guard unit type stuff, but still, it was there. It's not just something slapped together for the commercial. Oh, here's another one. You go Mausers like M48s. Those have been, or even the 2447s. Those have been very cheap considering the quality.
Yeah, I mean, dude, anything 8mm right now, I would say jump on. While the
Yeah.
ammo is super available, it's really available right now.
Yep, I would agree. And as far as handguns, me and you talked about this. I did a video about a year and some change ago about those Walther P38s that were coming in, and they were a great value for like $5. Actual Walther made P38. Yeah, they were the post-war alloy, but still, it's a Walther P38. And for a shooter, who cares?
Man, we got a freaking legend here in the chat. He tips $2. Regular guy training. Hi everyone, love your channel. Greg, I don't want to read that wrong. Can you read his comment for me?
Hi everyone, love your channel and Coom.
Okay.
By the way,
Ah,
I've been
Simi-
following
Simi
regular
would
guy
do
for a
for
long
Coombs.
time. Really cool.
Yeah, a dude that actually shoots and shoots good. He shoots AK good. Not a lot of dudes film themselves shooting AK. He shoots AK good. Very, very good. And he puts all that info on the internet for free. So that's really nice of him.
I remember when he was on James Yeager's channel, like for the first years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Wow,
There we
that's
go. I didn't want to read it wrong. Okay.
Wow, I
read it
hadn't thought of James in a long. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
In peace.
I think Yankee Marshall took his place. No.
Let's see. $5 from Texas James 97. Got a bunch of bakes and planning on getting a Norinco. Thoughts if worth the price?
Norinco, what? I mean, I assume it means AKs, but I mean, you got the Mac 90s, you've got the pre-bands. Yeah, big difference there.
He's really proud of his bakes. In his thumbnail image, it's a chest rig with an AK loaded up with Bakelite mags.
The thing is, the Chinese never use Bakelites.
Isn't there a Chinese mag that looks like it's Bakelite?
Yeah, the Fakelite, but that was literally made for the U.S. market because
Ooh,
people, yeah, it was a commercial. They're like, hey, Americans like this. And I think they might have also made them for like props. Remember how they tried to make AK-47s look like AK-74s for Red Dawn? So yeah, throw a fake bake in there and put a muzzle brake on. But yeah, that was something done in the 80s for, at the very least, the export market. The Chinese themselves did not issue it.
See, I didn't know that because I've seen those mags and I've seen they bring a ton of money. I didn't know it was just a commercial thing.
Yep. I mean, it's cool. I've got them, but The only reason I have one is Chris Bartacci sent me one he had spare, but yeah, they're not. They're cool, but they're not military.
You know, it's funny you say Chris Bartacci, and I've heard you reference all like James Reeves, Chris, all these different guys. Man, you've been doing this for a minute, and you are so smart, so full of knowledge that Henry at Ninehole, he talks my ear off about you.
I was meant to Henry, yeah, because Henry and I, he's what I like about Henry, he talks, but he has something to say, so I can talk with him for hours.
Yeah, it's really cool that so many, as the kids say, so many of the big YouTubers low key reach out to you, talk to you, pick your brain all the time, which is why you need to be well over 100,000. Like you are such a wealth of knowledge for so many people that go on to make their own content. So just wanted to throw that out there again.
Well, keep in mind I was a teacher, so you know I'm cool with that. But there are also videos when I watch some and I'm like, oh, I wish you had called me first because.
Ooh, who was it? Someone on this channel?
Yes.
That's probably me. I probably screwed up big time.
I remember the time when James Reeves couldn't figure out how to get a Yugo AK together and apart. That was fun. He was literally beating on the takedown catch. You know what he did.
Yeah, he didn't push the button.
Yep. And I still give him hell about that because it was, I mean, he wasted ridiculous amounts of time.
Let's see. The Unusual Civilian. Clay, I need to get my M13 tattoo, and the local artist isn't answering. This must be a KB thing. You really want an M13 tattoo? I will see what I can do. But
come over here. I'll give him a tattoo. I've even got the stool right over here. I got a tattoo stool right over there.
Yeah, let me give you a tattoo.
It'll be special.
Battle Bean tips $5. He says, Misha, with an exclamation point. Speaking of Mausers, yesterday I scooped up a Romanian contract VZ-24 at a fun show.
Oh, those are cool.
And only knew what it was because of you. It's so smooth.
Yeah, those came in and they were sweet. They were in really good shape. They had the sling, they had the mag pouch, they had the bayonet. It was the whole enchilada. And when they came in, they were just, for what you got, great value.
Let's see. The Christian, $5. What are your guys' thoughts on transferable machine guns possibly losing their value now that FRTs are becoming so prolific?
I don't think. I don't. Your machine gun guys aren't going to care about FRTs.
Nope.
It's just like did pre-ban guns lose their value because modern imports come in? No.
And Ian just did a video about that just a few days ago on Forgotten Weapons, and he has the same take. He's like, there are some like full auto catches that went for, I don't remember, it was something like $30,000 or $40,000 a piece, and it was just basically a small bent piece that drops into the lower receiver to make it full auto, and they're still pulling tons of money. So
Buenos
Yeah.
dias.
Yeah, so I saw that video and I just want to say I agreed, but I also disagree just because like I understand there's people out there with that FU money that's going to want a real transferable pre-86 because they can and they want that actual thing. But for somebody like me who can't drop 40, 50 grand on an MG, like I will eat up any FRT I can.
Well, I completely agree with you, but here's what I've observed over the last several years: the registered machine gun market is flat. Like the needle has, once you adjust for inflation, nothing's happened. I think it's a previous generation deal. I don't know what's going to happen when the boomers and maybe a little Gen X that has all this stuff passes, because a lot of these guns are just going to wear out eventually.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. I know what you're saying, but I haven't seen the machine gun market as a good investment since like 2010 at the very latest.
I kind of agree with Steve here to a point. The value thing, I don't think they're going to hurt the value at all. They'll want versus do I want to go through all the ropes that it would take to usually have that experience when I could I have an SOT, I have access to machine guns. Now that I've been playing around with FRTs more, I've had that epiphany where I'm like, it is exactly like my post sample ARs. It feels exactly the same. It gives me the same feeling, the same wow, like it's the same, and it also gives me the same. Well, that was cool for a couple of mags. I don't want to do that anymore. It feels so close that it kind of, for me, having access to the machine guns, it kind of cheapened how special that was. But then again, I've already had access to them so long, I understand how you can get very jaded to something that most people don't have access to. And I say all the time, if machine guns were never made illegal for civilians up to a certain date, people wouldn't care. If machine guns were legal this whole time and everyone could have them, it would just be another thing. We wouldn't care that much. We would have gotten bored of it. People wouldn't freak out about
If
it.
machine guns were that cool, why do we see pre-86 semi-autos, the AKs, the HKs? Even back when you could get a machine gun, a lot of people just opted not to. It wasn't all that. I mean, heck, you even had like the West Hurley Thompsons, or even semi-auto Thompsons and Uzis. So even before the closing of the registry, a lot of people just didn't go for it.
Yeah, I think the mystique wears off when you have access to it freely. The mystique wears off quickly. It really does.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Ooh, man, you got a couple here. Robert Tad 8433 tips $5 just to do it. That's just for you, Misha. And then here's our friend. Gender Bent Chocolate Milky tips another $5. He says, is there any reason to not get a SAM 5 instead of a WBP or Yugo pattern for a 5.56 rifle?
Man, I really, I'm going to do that video comparing them, but I really like my SAM 5. I know it get a little bit of bad press there. I think most of what I tell people is, have you ever seen one of the receivers actually break and someone get hurt? It's cosmetic. And the newer ones, like I just got one for a customer, they're fine. They've effectively fixed it, and that's not a new thing. Like they did it a while ago. I would get that if you wanted a milled and you like being smooth. Zastava is just Zastava. It's its own bag. I don't personally have a lot of interest in the WBP and 5.56. That's just me though. I don't know. It's not anything. There was never a gun. Of course, not every gun I have has to be military, but why when there's other guns out there? No, I like my SAM 5. I really do, and I have put maybe 5K through it by now. So I've shot it a bit, and guess what? It hadn't blown up on me yet. So,
all right.
And actually, the price has come down on them, so not a horrible time if you're inclined.
And expensive compared to the top. Tusk the Third tips $5, and he says, Misha, thoughts on legacy collectibles? Also, is a hot dog a sandwich? Tell Jay and Fox hi.
Hot dog is absolutely a sandwich, and legacy's fine. I bought from them. In fact, I got my my Carabiner 98A from them, and they tried to tell me I didn't want it because it had an import mark, and I'm like, I don't care. It's cheap. No, they're fine. Just know what you're doing. They're like any other big place, but I shop there occasionally, so no complaints.
Zalka the Gunpowder Dragon 9438 tips $1 just to tip it. Pretty sure I read that. That's a massive name. A lot of letters, a lot of words. And that's all the super chats so far. Cannot believe we caught up. So
the cat is bumping my butt again from under the chair. I don't know why she likes playing under this chair.
Gender Bent Chocolate Milky tips another $5. Thank you, Misha and co. I'll get a SAM 5, I think. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're down for that, it's the only real milled 5.56 that, and it's military. It's got some pedigree. But no, I really like mine. That's all I can say.
I had a couple questions here. One we've talked about a lot, and that was, how do you tell us how you really feel about FRTs? I think we know now. My second question was, what has been the best benefit that you have had from having your YouTube channel? Maybe something most people don't know that you don't talk about. What's been a really, just a genuinely positive benefit of having your channel?
it gives me a reason to get up some days. Obviously I've done it a long time, and there have been periods in my life when things aren't going good, or I'm stressed out and I need the distraction. It's if nothing else, always good for that, and it gives me purpose. And yeah, I feel like I'm doing constructive and adding to the world. Um, I'm a creative type person, and I like making stuff for the sake of making stuff. That's why I build models and things. I just, yeah, if there's an audience, if there's people, that's awesome. But there's something in me that has to have a project, that has to do something. And if I don't have that, then I get bored. And when I'm bored, I don't handle boredom very well.
Well, cool. I appreciate you sharing that. You and I got a little deep on the phone the other day, and I definitely appreciate the conversations that we've had. And you're a complex individual. I can say that. Very
A little
complex.
bit complex, crazy. Yeah, how it works. I'm just me.
So,
I don't think any of us live this long and not get a little kooky. We're like computers that haven't been defragmented in a while. But keep on.
yeah, you're like the crazy cat lady of GunTube.
Exactly. See, I go with that.
Greg, did you have another question queued up?
No, no questions. Just I appreciate the content. I can't even keep up with your pacing on the videos. I haven't watched every single video you have, but
Well, and I don't think anyone would, but I try to diversify it enough that even if what I put out today doesn't eh, be what someone wants, maybe the one I do tomorrow does. I try to skip
exactly,
around
yeah.
enough.
I click on the ones that I'm interested in for sure.
Exactly. That's what I do with every other channel I watch too. It's I don't watch everything everyone does, because I watch quite a bit of what Ian does at Forgotten Weapons, but not everything.
Oh yeah, someone mentioned in the chat that I know you have a pretty good relationship with Rob Ski as well for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it's I would love to know just how many YouTube channels you have touched in some way with just giving them hints, some tips, some knowledge on what they're about to film. I bet you have had an effect on dozens and dozens of channels, maybe hundreds of videos that have been produced.
I hope
I know,
so. I mean,
I know you've affected my
I
channel tremendously.
definitely put time. I'm not in it for money. That's not my driving factor. But I'm in it to make a difference and to be something. So if I'm able to, that's really what I'm going for. I'd rather help people. I'd rather give advice, good and bad, to help people avoid decisions that they'll regret later, and just pass on the knowledge, the stuff that I've gleaned over the years. It's not a matter of being smart. It's just I'm gonna feel that it accumulates knowledge, and what's the point of it if you don't get it out there, um, for better or worse. And of course, I make mistakes and I learn every year, and that's a good thing. I would get really bored if I couldn't learn anything new. That's why I got into like some of the cowboy action a year or two ago. Just something to learn, a whole new field to learn about. I've done AR-15 retro clones for years. I really love doing those whenever the parts become available.
I remember you said that because the AK market right now is just kind of there's not a whole lot to be excited about.
Hmm.
Like you said, you got into wheel guns and
Yeah.
revolvers, and you said you'd never get into them back when
Hmm.
you were talking to Jay. You're like, that doesn't interest me at all. Now you're all about them.
Yeah, just because it was something new and different, and why not? The time was right. Probably years ago I wasn't into it because there was a lot going on with other things, but it's kind of nice to keep things like that in your back pocket to when you're ready, because I was getting dangerously close to getting bored again. So I wish YouTube wheel gun videos did better. Um, who was it? It might have been Forgotten Weapons. I'm trying to think. I was warned beforehand. Even the big channels that get big views, the wheel gun videos get a fraction of what other videos do. It's just one of those facts of YouTube that they don't get a lot of attention. But if you enjoy doing it, it doesn't really matter.
Man, I guess unless you're Hickok 45, that dude can fart out a wheel gun video and get a gajillion views. Ooh, on that note,
He's
I gotta
probably
ask
only
because
one.
you've been contacted by so many people. I have to know. I've never seen you flinch. Have you been contacted by anyone? It doesn't even have to be a YouTuber. Maybe just someone. The right person contacted you where you kind of geeked out and fangirled a little bit. Has that ever happened?
I don't tend to be that way by nature. Um, I I'm trying to think how it's said. Oh, dude, what do the kids call it? I basically ghosted Tim Harmson accidentally once years ago. This was back when YouTube had a messenger, and he had sent us some messages, and we didn't even know about it. And then Jay's like, we've been getting messages from Military Arms Channel for like 6 months, and it's like, oops. So it was a weird day. I'd actually traveled down to Little Rock to do something and got back, and I'm like, hello, this is me. Sorry, I've been ignoring you for months, and that was kind of surreal to talk to him just out of the blue like that. Um, that was
Rodrigo
kind
had
of
a similar experience with him at SHOT Show once.
what happened with you.
He just came up to us, right? We were looking at the weird long rifle that he loves. The dragon. Is it a Dragunov? I don't know what it's called.
It was
Weird,
it was the
weird
Texas-based
long
company
rifle
that
he
was going
loves.
to clone the Dragunov.
Yeah, it was just a really long. I don't like long rifles, so he was looking at this really long thing, and he comes up to us, and I was like, man, he was really tall, by the way. He's a super tall guy. And then I was like, I've been watching your show since I was a kid. No, since I was a baby.
I was in the womb. Yeah, Tim, for all everything else, he's a down to earth person, and good people. And there's been a few times over the years when he's called me late at night, like, "Hey man, are you okay?" Just he has done enough to show me that he's a real person that actually cares about people, and that counts for a lot. You could disagree with people on other things, but if you have fundamentally the same values, that's what matters. It's like with Henry at Nine Hole. I've told you I think he's probably one of the best people when it comes to just like morality and being a good person in the whole YouTube community. He's just good people.
I would agree. He's one of the best I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And
Yeah,
I met some guys in the AK, in the YouTube space in general that, man, have just been real stinkers, for lack of a better term. But Henry was definitely,
and I bet those people are in it for reasons that you and I aren't. I bet they're in it for more publicity, for more financial reasons. The truth is, I don't like attention. I don't like fame. It actually took a bit for Jay to get me on camera, and even then, I was super nervous. But it was something to overcome. I'm like, okay, I don't like being on camera. I don't like being. All right, let's do this. Let's get over that deal. Um, I had a hard time when I was a kid spending nights at friends' houses or being outside a mountain house when I was overnight. So let's fly to Russia and stay there for 6 months. It's like, come on, the best way to do is just like take it and jump in the deep end, and that's kind of how I've always been.
Hey guys, sorry, I got to
Oh,
jump
yeah.
off here. It was great talking with everybody.
Yeah.
Misha, it's nice meeting you and everything.
Hey,
I
but before you go, Steve, there's one super chat for
Sure.
you
Oh, there's a question for him?
from the nutsack face guy, Gender Bent Chocolate Milky. Question for the MP5 man. Which MP5 clone would you recommend before you go?
Man, I think it depends on really how much you're trying to shoot it or how much you think you're going to shoot it, because there's a pretty good range of price point companies that have either imported or making domestically, that kind of stuff. So I would say, if and this is just my opinion and I'm not the end all be all, maybe MISHACO would disagree, but I think if you want to spend the money, I would just go with an HK, just get an SP5 and kind of call it a day. I have probably an MP5 clone from every company that makes them, and that one is the one I shoot the most and is the one that I've had zero issues with. Some of the other imports, like you can get an MKE that's kind of hit and miss.
You can.
A lot of times you'll see extractor problems right off the bat with MKEs. You just have to replace those, which is a cheap, easy fix. But I don't know, just my personal experience. Now I don't own 5 of each one of these guns, so I have a sample size of 1 of each essentially. But in my experience, the SP5 has been the one that's ran like a top, no problems, no issues throughout it all. That's not to say, I mean, there's other ones that I've had minimal issues with. Again, if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you're just going to shoot it here and there and not really shoot a lot of rounds through it, I mean, you can get away with a Mac import. You can get away with, the Sentry, and all the it can be done. It just really depends on what you're trying to do. That's my take.
Well, and the SP5s, they're buy once, cry once, but to me, I know they're not cheap, but considering what pre-bands are going before the modern generation came out, they're cheap. Like, and they're not. I mean,
the pre-bands.
Yeah, I mean, they're and I love how the current ones had the paddle mag release. I mean, they're there. HK finally, belatedly listened, and that's why I was talking about my A4. I even like how they did the MR 556 A4. Like I begrudgingly think HK USA has suddenly turned it around a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, hey, Steve, shoot me an email. I'd love to talk roller guns. I mean, AKs are a thing, but and what I like about roller guns, I know a thing or two, but that's a field I'm always learning about too, because I, don't have as much experience. But yeah, I'd love to chat with you, Adam, sometime.
Sure,
no problem. I can send you his email later if you need it, Steve.
Yeah, do that, please.
Cool.
All right, guys, thanks. I appreciate it.
Cool. Have a good evening.
Hey, I want to send you my email too, Misha.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you hadn't signed off yet, but yeah, no, everyone's welcome to email me. That's what I do. I like email. You can ask, and typically if we have something big to talk about, I usually just like to holler at everyone on the phone. But emails are great for just like catching up or sending. Like I was asking Clay about the Yugo flash shatters the other night. I'm full of questions.
Yeah, it's a good thing you can't receive the pictures he would probably send you that we get in the Shield Guild all the time. Let me see. Thomas Shardy, 1851, tips $5, and he asks, "Is there an AK pistol import ban?" I don't believe there is.
Nope.
Let's see. Casey Gregory tips $5 just because you're such a nice guy, Misha. Here we go. Larry tips $10 and says, "For the GOAT, I enjoyed the recent wheel gun videos."
He called you a goat, Peanut.
He enjoys your new hobby, maybe more than you do.
I don't know if you saw my recent short, but I picked up an original Lightning. I never thought I'd have an old school Colt like this, but it's pretty cool.
I have had this same question. Mountain Manx, $5. Misha, have you ever considered writing a book on the history of AK imports / import laws?
It's come up over the years, and I wouldn't mind doing my part, but from what I understand, a lot of books have photography in them. And again, I'm not against it, but that's not something I could do. And I would worry. I would want a partner I could trust, because I'd want to make sure the pictures are right. If I say this is a picture of this or that gun, I'd want to make, because that's the problem about a lot. I can't check that stuff. In fact, you and I were talking about this on like my thumbnails and things. If I were to hire someone to help me do that stuff, I can't look over their work and go, yeah, I approve of that. There's a lot of trust that goes into that, to put your name on it and then stand by. And that's why someone like Jay worked well, because I trust him implicitly.
I can help you with those thumbnails.
No, you can't.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Have you ever been asked to consult on a book?
Yes, I'm actually in the most recent. Well, the Black Rifle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did the T90. Well, but the T65 T91 section.
Yeah, I remember when I had one of those in on review. A guy had put one of the kits together, and you were virtually the only video on the internet that I could find on the topic. So I definitely ripped a lot of your information off of that video.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad you did, because that information was hard won. That was one of the most fun but challenging guns to research, because there was just nothing out there. But it was a lot of fun when I finally get information, because there's just it's a slept on thing. It really is.
I bet you there's several guns on your channel where you probably have one of the only videos on that topic on YouTube.
Well, that's how the channel got started, with the 551A1. Jay and I kept seeing the same PR blurbets about them when they came out, but no data. We're like, well, I guess we'll do a video, and we did. And it's mostly the cicadas in the field you can hear, but it cracks me up nonetheless.
Yeah, and you had a pretty awesome mullet back then, like 15 years ago.
I don't know. Sure. I've never had thought of much about hair. I just let my wife go with it. It didn't matter. Right? Like, I look at it. I'm not out there dating, so she can do my hair if she wants.
Well, she approved a very good haircut about 15 years ago. Jake's Custom Parts tips $20 to Misha, and he asks, can anyone on the panel recommend a newer 22 LR pistol / suppressor combination? I'll tell you mine really quick, just because it's the only one I have, and I love it. Ruger Mark IV with a dead air mask.
I knew it was coming. Yep.
Money.
Yeah. Like half my family owns that, plus a suppressor. It may not be the dead air one, but whatever. But it's hard to beat the Ruger. It just is. That said, I did have that Walther, the current 22 they're doing with the threaded barrel, and it worked really well too. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I love it. My business partner Tony also has a Mark IV, and he has, God, what is that can called? Rodrigo, you may have to remind me. What is it called? It's that giant. It looks like a freaking can of spray paint.
Oh, it's the cat one. It looks like the cat's butt.
Rex Selenium.
Oh, it was in the cat's butt.
No, I don't think so.
You know what? I'm sad we haven't had cat's butt tonight. I warned him that because the cats are bouncing around. The little one likes to do cat butt in the camera. I'm really surprised she hasn't done it.
Oh, there was proof of butthole earlier, I think.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's not right if there isn't a little bit of it. I mean, make a good thumbnail.
Okay, Misha from Gender Bent Chocolate Milky. He's full of it tonight. Tips $5.
Talking about cat butts.
Who should be the first YouTuber to fire the AK-50 when it's done? Rob Ski or Misha?
Man, I gotta give it to Rob. Like, I'm a thing, but Rob's legitimate. He served in the Polish military. Like, you gotta give it up for that kind of first hand. I mean, I shot some AKs over there, but like, he lived it, so gotta give it to Rob.
I'd still like to see you shoot it. I think that'd be funny. It'd be funny to leave the lens caps on if it had a scope.
Yes.
I remember you said the last time we were live, you would troll people and you would leave caps on your dots and you were just firing and people were just furiously commenting. How could you shoot it?
I'm working. I'm in the middle of doing a video on the URGI, and I did it for old time's sake on that upper yesterday.
Yeah,
Misha, one of my favorite troll videos you've ever done is, I think it was 551, the pink version.
Oh,
And you open it up and you're like, yep, the classic gray and green color scheme. I don't think a lot of people got it, but
that was so hard to keep a straight face when I was doing it. That was but it was fun. Man, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I think 5 of those pink guns in. Ultimately, like, I got 3 and then a couple more, and guys, I paid off my house with those guns. They went crazy, and I think it was because it was COVID times and people. It was always, they were just so. I don't think if they'd imported more, they would have done better. But it's like a weird one-off single-digit thing. People went crazy for those.
It's like the Alpine, but pink.
Yeah, the pink did better. I mean, the Alpine it did pretty decent. But the pink just went. One of the ones I thought was cool is they did those heavy metal ones. I thought that was kind of cool in like a post-apocalyptic kind of way. Just that heat treat case color hardened look that they did on them. There's just some neat stuff over there. They only bring in a few of each gun, but overall, there's been a good number of SIGs come in, and that's going to be awesome in the future for collectors. One thing I'm trying to work on is when Dave's done, sooner or later, having a relatively accurate count of what came in of what variant that I can share or put in a book or whatever.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'm sad I didn't get an Alpine when they came in, but
Yeah, because they even have the stocks to match and everything.
Yeah.
Nah, they're
Greggy
great
has the
guns.
outfit for that white one.
I've got the outfit for
Oh
everything.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he has like a white camouflage outfit that looks like he's in the mountains.
I'm in the mountains right now. I'd share that stuff, but it's I'm on the top of the mountains here.
Hey, Misha, so I know you moved out to the cabins, right? And when I guess some videos where you're recording, it sounds like you're pretty close to a road because you hear a lot of cars driving by.
They're not cars, they're RTVs, and that's a problem they're having in Colorado too. Is they get that's why they're so loud. Yeah, anywhere out here there's a trail. When it's like yesterday, it's a pretty day. They come through in what I call convoys, and I'm happy people are out enjoying nature. And to be fair, they're not really bad about littering, thank God, because that gets me. But why those things have to be so loud is beyond me.
Ah, gotcha. I thought you were by like a highway. I was like, man, because in some of your videos, man, those cars were whizzing by and it's like really loud.
Yeah, that's the RTVs. Yeah, it's all paved out here now. When I was a kid, this road was just literally not even a gravel road; it was a dirt road. But it's civilization's encroaching on everywhere. And what do you do?
Hey Misha, are you a cigar guy by any chance?
When I was younger, I smoked a few, but I haven't had one in a long time. But I like the smell of them, but not to get into all this stuff, but ever since COVID, I've had a hard time smoking anything. I got it a couple of times, never got really sick, but just kind of does weird things to my lungs now. So I've mostly had to give that up.
Well, hopefully you're not inhaling it too much.
Yeah, I've always had pretty sensitive smell and everything. You know how it goes. But I remember when I was 18, I was just sitting out in the backyard just smoking cigars, and my mother came up and was like, "What?" It's a funny story. They didn't. You didn't have to even be 18 when I was a kid to smoke stuff. They changed that law later, but I don't know.
Well, I was just gonna let the group know we've blown past our 2-hour limit.
Hey, my thing didn't crash. That's good.
No, yeah. So he said that your computer it basically like runs out of memory after like an hour and 40 minutes. So it probably was going to boot you, but it didn't. So
I said
you
it
got
was
lucky.
doing it. I thought I had fixed it, but I wasn't 100%. This was a good test run. I'll just give you. It seemed to be fixed, but this is Microsoft we're talking about. So, time you fix it, they'll do an update that'll break it again for you.
Well, man, I just got to say, and I'll let everyone have their moment to speak, but I very honored that you did this with us. I know the chat, there's still over 300 people watching, and typically by this time people are knocking off. So, I just want to extend a permanent invitation to you. Anytime you feel like you want to go live, there are hundreds of questions we did not get to. I'm talking hundreds. If you ever want to do this again, you just let me know and we'll try to facilitate it where we can read the comments to you and get you some super chats, and hopefully in a tiny little way, because live streams don't add up to a lot of subscriptions, but maybe it
Yeah, but
pumps you
they're
up closer
fun.
to that 100K mark.
I appreciate it because we did this a while back now and it was a lot of fun, but then life got busy and I'm always there and people reach out to me, but I'm real bad about reaching out to people. Not because of it. I feel like I'm disturbing them and I don't want to do that. But I have to make myself reach out to people sometimes, and I've started trying to do that more because I do need to make new connections and revitalize some old ones, because otherwise we all drift apart. And I've lost a lot of friends in the last year, and the ones that I've still got left, I want to value more and spend time with while we all can, and make new friends too. But I just lost a really good friend during SHOT Show, and it sucked, and it's been missing. And I lost my last like 2 gunsmiths, and I don't know, just been feeling a way about gun stuff, and I want, because to me it's always been about community. It's like family. It's like poetry. It's like George Lucas. There you go. But I try to revitalize this year, kind of meet people again, because I do enjoy it. I'd like to start going places, and doing events. Obviously, I can't do like match shooting, but I also don't mind just hanging out with people afterwards. Like we were talking about going to the campfires and just sharing stories. That's what it's all about for me, is just that sense of community.
Yeah, maybe one day we could all sit around a fire and take another crack at smoking some stogies and drink a little vodka and just have a good time. That is some of my favorite things about going to these events, like we talked about. It's what happens later when there's nothing really going on. People are just relaxing. There's always a fire. That's that cool old school gun stuff. You go out in the woods, you camp and shoot guns, and you just bullshit at night.
Yeah. It's just fun. And I can do videos out here alone. In fact, if I'm trying to do a video, it's easier to do without anyone here. I can get to what I need to do and crank stuff out. But I miss having a crowd. I miss having friends. But we're in a time when a lot of people are just, schedules are so busy, and it gets harder and harder. So it's good when you can make stuff line up. It really is.
Agreed. Well, if anyone had any closing remarks, go ahead and holler at the chat, holler at Misha, and we'll call it a night.
Holla.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Misha, thanks for answering my question and everybody else's question as well.
Man, I appreciate you coming around. Like I said, I told him my wife was leaving out today, and I knew I'd have this evening, so I appreciate the not being alone in the evening.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Misha, for listening to all our crazy stuff. It was cool.
I'm not sure if I asked you, but what's kind of your bag when it comes to gun? What's your special interest?
He's more into tortas than he is guns.
I love tortas. I'm into ASMR, eating, juicy stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Man, I like a little bit of everything.
Hey, you need to see my second channel.
Oh my god, I need to subscribe to your second channel. Yeah, no, I have some AKs. I have I just have a mix of everything, really. I just like to get all the guns that were on Call of Duty. So like if it was on Call of Duty, I wanted to get it. And so that's my thing. I think lately I've been gravitating more towards AKs. I think I have quite a few AKs. But man, the SIGs have really piqued my interest. And so like that's probably one of my next ones. I want to get another SIG 551. Like I have the 551A1, but I want to get a real one.
Well, you do.
I mean, if you get a Swiss one, you're going to both be really impressed how different it is, but also really amazed how similar it is. It's hard to say. That said, I've had a lot of people get a 551A1 or similar and then switch up to one of the Swiss imports. None of them have told me they regret it, but the idea is still the same. They are very much the same gun. They're just the quality of the parts is upped quite a bit.
Yeah. I do also have a wig that I used because I got some glasses just like yours, and I have a wig just like your hair. And so one time on the live stream, I was MISHACO with the necks. So
nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Henry did it when we did our 10-year anniversary years ago. Henry did a video wearing glasses and stuff, and of course he asked me permission to kind of like spoof me, and I was like, oh yeah, I absolutely don't get serious about that stuff, because if someone, I don't know, respectfully, it doesn't offend me. I'm not offended about that at all, but just having fun. It's like we used to make fun of James in his short shorts and just having fun with it.
Yeah, I got you. So that's me in a nutshell. Just a wacky
Yeah.
dude.
That's the way to go. Just be yourself.
Yeah, Misha, thanks so much for jumping on, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I just enjoy learning as much as I can about some, especially older guns. I mean, my whole thing out like recently has been collecting World War II stuff. Same with like Rodrigo talking about like Call of Duty, like just getting some cool new builds to work on, like the new Bushmaster LEOs we all got just for fun, just to build them out. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It brings the community together. We, spitball ideas back and forth, and wealth of knowledge, just kind of going back and forth and kind of learning as we go.
You talk about Call of Duty. I've heard some of the old boomers. They were like, "Oh, these kids and their gangs." Also, it's like, guys, you don't know how many people have got into real firearms because of these video games.
For real.
Like they're a great gateway drug into guns. They really are. And why not? I mean, there was, especially in the 90s, oh, kids are going to go violent because that's all bunk. Kids actually learn history and all that. I think I don't have a problem with that. I probably, if I could see, I would play games too. I just can't. So what am I going to do but actually play with the real thing?
Well, Misha, thank you for coming on, man. It's been
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
It's been really cool to talk to you.
And any guys welcome to email me, whatever. Just hang out. And I love talking guns and information, and that's just what I do. And I'm always Googling and researching things or looking for things, or I don't know. It's just what I enjoy.
The import knowledge is amazing, and your import collection is also amazing.
That's kind of my bag. I like foreign stuff, but imports are.
I'm probably the most jealous of your South African Galils or Galil.
We were talking about the Spaz is wearing out. The problem with that South African is it has a rubber
buffer,
and instead of a firing pin spring, it uses a rubber buffer for the firing pin, and that just deteriorates, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And they're never going to come in. So,
in fact, I don't know if you noticed, but that one has the plastic buttstock. It originally actually came with the 2-piece one that had the rubber butt plate. The butt plate just disintegrated on it. Yeah.
But it's one of 10 or whatever that's in the country. So
yeah, I'm just glad I was able to trace down how those came in, because I was a little sketched out for a while about legal stuff, but it was a big relief, and I was like, okay, cool. These were kosher. Because I, even if I feel different ways about Larry Vickers, I don't want to follow him, because right or wrong, the government's more powerful than we are, and if they decide you're going behind bars, there's little we can do about it. And I don't wanna. I'm not suited for prison.
I'm allergic to it personally.
Exactly. I food, like I couldn't live on that food. I like my food too much.
I don't have the prison wallet for it.
Well, don't worry, they'll give you one of those.
As soon as you walk in,
it's free issue. It might be a little tight at first, but it'll break in.
Hey, you juicy.
We have the final super chat from Smash Time, another really fun YouTube channel. Tips $20 to Misha and says, good stuff, gentlemen. Keep up the solid work. Excited for Kalash Bash in April. Hell yeah, we all are. Man, 2 hours, 20 minutes. Still a ton of people watching. We had over 400 people at one time. Misha, that's all you, man. We don't ever get those kind of numbers. So people
I was afraid I was going to goof it up by, screwing it up somehow, because that always makes me nervous when I get hit the wrong key or the cat jump on the keyboard. So I'm just happy it held out.
This was awesome. I'm so glad we had video this time. People really enjoyed watching you. This was awesome, and the chat has been so positive. Everyone's unanimously saying that this was a very unique live stream. People really enjoyed it. So again, the invitation is ongoing. Anytime you want to do this,
I didn't comment much, not to interrupt the flow, but everyone who donated, I greatly appreciate it. It really does, because it's rough times. It's much appreciated. I just didn't want to stop every time it happened to say something, because it breaks the flow.
Yeah, and again, every single one of those tips is going to go to Misha after this stream. So what you guys all need to do.
They're going to the cats. They need
All cat
food
food.
and they need a new cat tree. I
Well-
tell my wife that we actually built the cabin for Peanut because she acts like she owns this cabin.
Well, a few of the chats demanded that it be spent on booze, so there's at least $20 or $30 that you have to buy booze with, but the rest is all
I did
cat
get
food.
that bottle I showed, and I put it on a credit card. So when I pay that card off at the end of the month, it'll pay for that bottle I just bought.
Got it.
That work?
Got assaulted. That works. All right. Well, thank you, chat, and hey, everyone. Misha's YouTube is up. If you are not already subscribed, what the hell are you doing with your freaking life, man?
And
And,
Yeah,
uh,
Misha. Subscribe to my channel, Misha.
And you just got another $50 for the cats, Misha, from Smash Time. So there you go. There's a big ass bag of cat food for you. Thanks, Smash
And
Time.
yeah, just
Really
kind
appreciate
of doing the Yugo stuff this week for no reason, and then next week I don't know, working on that URGI upper, and I've always got stuff in the works. Some of it comes out quick, some of it sits in the background on the burner for a while, but I love making videos, and so I hope people do too. But
Hey, Clay, there's another super chat that we missed. Let's back up and check it out real quick. Romeo's generic channel had a super chat.
Oh, there it is. He tips $2 and he says, "Much love, Misha and everyone." Heck yeah. All right, y'all. Don't need to tip anymore. We're trying to sign off. So go subscribe to his channel. Jerry has been modding the chat. Thanks, Jerry, for doing that. He's been
yeah, I
dropping
was going to
everyone's
ask
links.
who your mods were, because I know in this day and age it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry does a great job. When my
does.
wife mods, she bans people indiscriminately. It's indiscriminate.
That's women. My wife's the exact same way. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Well, and to
they're
be fair,
unhinged.
Jay
They don't make
used
for
to be
good
that
mods.
way. Jay used to be that way too. I'm like, dude, it's cool. Don't worry about it. But yeah, they're just trying to look out for us. That's all they are.
Yeah, depending on the time of month we go live is directly proportionate to how many people got
I do
kicked out
not
of
know
their
what
live.
you mean. I have no idea.
Yeah.
There are benefits to getting close to 50, and that is one of them.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you all for watching. Misha, again,
Yes.
thank you for your time, man. And thank you all for hanging out and bringing your own questions, shill guilders. And here's to getting paid by Zastava to say good things about him 90s.
And WBP.
And WBP. Yeah, Misha's. Hey, you might qualify for the shill guild there, brother. I don't know you're getting paid
Yeah.
by WBP. Well, here's to MISHACO to 100,000 subscribers coming very soon.
Salud, amigo.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We love you all. See you later. Bye.
They're drinking booze. I'm drinking coffee. That tells you